Welcome to this week's Healthy Dog Eats with Dr. Kaz, and I'm Kim Bachati, and Cosmos is very excited this week because we are talking about dog treats. I know, and we are making his most favorite treat ever. What is it? Cheese, right? It goes say cheese to the camera? Right. Cosmos loves ricotta cheese, so we're going to do kind of a little bit of a parfait thing here. We're going to make some really crunchy granola bites, safe for them, good for us, and along with homemade ricotta cheese. And then we're going to put some Greek yogurt, kind of make a little bit of parfaits. Something good for breakfast, good for snacks, good for treats. Because we're going to continue talking about what we started about last week as far as our kibble, which kind of falls over and rolls into our dog treats. You know, we all have been where we've gone to the bank drive-through or into one of the big box stores, and you know the people there that have the treats for your dogs, and they end up giving them a milk bone or something like that, some kind of a dog cookie. But what's actually in those is what's kind of scary. There's things called poultry byproduct meal, which if you look up what that is, it's a lot of all the pieces, parts of the chickens or turkeys or whatever it is that they're using. Can even be roadkill. Sometimes these parts arrive dead on arrival, which brought, and what happened to, probably happened, I don't know for sure, to J.M. Smucker when they got called at the beginning of the year of 2018. A lot of their products have gotten recalled because they found a phenobarbital inside of some of the foods and some of the treats. Now, for those of you that don't know what phenobarbital is, it's what they use to euthanize a dog or an animal. So that's a pretty scary thought, is how did that get into our stuff? So that's a whole long story and we'll talk more, but let's get going on our stuff. We're first going to start and make up some super crunchy, like granola clusters. We're going to use this where we can top it into our parfait, but we can also use the clusters for little treats and rewards for the dogs because it's super, super healthy. So we are going to start off with our oats. Well, first let's do this. We need to get, let's get our sauce going, because in our parfaits, remember like when we made our syrup for our pancakes, we're going to use some blueberries and some peaches, because a lot of times with yogurt, and like in flavoring the ricotta cheese, you don't have to worry about it as much. But in flavoring yogurt, if you go see, yogurt is often filled with a ton of sugar. So it's just so much better for you and for your dog if you're going to give it to them to go ahead and buy the plain, whether it be Greek, which Greek is a little bit higher as far as better in protein and so forth than just like regular yogurt. It's a little bit a thicker consistency, a little creamier consistency. From the standpoint of they drain more of the way out. So by doing this and flavoring your yogurt, you save so much, and it's so much healthier for you. And by saving so much, I don't mean monetarily as much as I mean the calories and the so forth as far as the sugars that go on. I mean, some of those, you can look at those, they're up to 36 grams for one serving of sugar in just a little thing of yogurt, where you think you're doing wonders and eating yogurt and eating healthy, and then you turn around and you find out you've got all this sugar that's going into your body. So we're going to do it a little bit healthy. So not a little bit, we're going to do it a lot healthy. So we're going to put this up here a little bit, and we're going to do just like we did before. I've got some blueberries and some peaches. Blueberries and peach and strawberry banana are actually the top yogurt flavors that people get. And like I said, we're not adding sugar to this. We're going to let this develop its own natural sugars by just placing in some water. And we're going to let this kind of go down. So we're going to work while this works. So now we can start our granola. We've already got our oven preheating to 400. So in here I have about 1.25 cups of oats, regular oats. Now you can use steel cut oats as well, because what is nice with steel cut oats is a little bit more nutritional value. Totally different than your rolled oats or your quick oats. You don't really want to use quick oats for this, but you want to use full-fledged oats. And then we're going to add in 1/2 cup of slivered almonds. And we are going to add in 1/2 cup of the flaked, unsweetened coconut. And then we're going to add some, well actually we're going to do our sauce first, because we're going to put that in last. What holds all this together and binds all this together is going to be 1/3 cup of maple syrup. Put that in there. And I did put a little squeeze of vanilla in that, maybe 1/2 teaspoon. And then we have some coconut oil, which is about 1/4 cup of that. And what we're going to do is we're just going to heat this slightly just to get the oils incorporated together. So we're going to let that go for just a second while we mix this up over here. All right, kind of get this going a little bit, and we're just mixing this all up. All right, and what I'm going to do is this is going to get a little bit warm. Just going to take just a couple seconds here, and then we're going to do our ricotta cheese as well, that's Cosmos's favorite. And we actually even found lactose-free milk. So we're going to be making it with that. So that's going to do wonders for that as well. But back to talking about, while we wait till this heats for a second, back to talking more about our kibble and our treats and all that. One fact I came across, which was a little bit concerning too, was the fact, well, I shouldn't say concerning, it kind of puts things in perspective for us. It said that 70% of the people purchase their dog food and treats from Walmart, Target, and Walgreens. Now, you think about that, and I think of the products that those stores carry, which means a lot of our dogs in the United States are getting products that aren't as good for them. So it's even more important that we do what we can to add certain things and do certain things that we can as far as food to help those dogs be able to fight the cancer and to be able to, do a little bit better. Not saying the higher priced foods are always the better, because a lot of times that they're not. A lot of times you'll find things in there that you're like, oh my gosh, all the recalls that happens, the main recalls are Salmonella, Listeria, E. coli. There's I think 4 or 5 recalls just this year alone for something called beef thyroid hormone, which I'm not really quite sure what that is, but items are getting recalled for that. So we need to take a little bit more control. We need to be a little bit more proactive in what we do in order to help our dogs, because we love them and we want them here as long as we possibly can have them. So we're getting a little bit bubbly here on our maple syrup and coconut oil. So what we're going to do is we're going to put that in. We're going to mix it up very, very quickly. Oops, one thing I did forget. Good thing I did that. I moved that. We need to put a tablespoon of coconut sugar in this mixture that we have. And coconut sugar is safe for the dogs. And you can see it kind of looks like a glorified brown sugar. It's just made from the coconut, and it's actually very good. Our syrup there is just about ready. So we're going to toss this super quick in here. We're going to whisk it up though, because you can see where the oil separates from the maple syrup, and we want to keep it together as much as we can. We're going to pour that over it all. Put that down, turn that off. And then now we're going to dump in our blueberries. And the blueberries actually are dried blueberries that I dried myself. Because you think of dried fruit, how much sugar. Once again, we're using our fold over technique where we're just kind of getting it all to be incorporated. And blueberries, like I said, any dried fruit, if you look at the bags, all they're going to tell you is they've added sugar to it or all kinds of preservatives. So it's super, super easy. It does take a little bit of a time. You don't need a dehydrator. But what you're going to do is you're going to just put them on a parchment piece of paper like this, dump out your blueberries, put your oven on for about 250. I actually did ours on the grill because I had the grill going. So I popped them in there, and it takes a couple hours. And then all of a sudden you have your dried out fruit. And you can do it with whatever fruit has a lot of moisture. You can even do it with vegetables. So you can do strawberries, you can do it with zucchini, you can do it with all kinds of things. So what we're going to do here is we want this to be a little bit clustery. So we're going to kind of separate it a little bit. And then we are going to take just a drizzle of honey and put it over top. And this kind of, I'm just going super light. This kind of helps bind it just as much. And we're ready for the oven. So this guy's going to go in here, and we're going to let that go for about 20 minutes. Our sauce here is getting ready. We want to wait till our blueberries burst, and when we see those start to burst, we're going to put a little bit of maple syrup in there, just a real little bit in order to flavor that. So we're going to keep that going here. And now we are going to be ready to start our ricotta cheese, which happens very, very quickly. Cheese, Cosmos, cheese is coming. Are you ready? Get all these bowls out of the way here so we can kind of see what's going on, because we're going to have to let that stand for a few seconds as well. All right, so what we're going to do is, the first thing that you want to do And anytime you cook milk or heat milk, always take your pan and put a little bit of cold water. Run a little bit of cold water through the bottom. Let's see if I don't think I can get that under the sink here. So what I'm gonna have to do is improvise, and let's use this bowl. We'll get some water this way. Small sink, big pan don't work. All right, so we're gonna stop that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some cold water, I'm gonna put it in the bottom of the pan, just coat the bottom of the pan, and then I'm gonna dump it out. Now I can add my milk, and my milk won't burn. Very easy. I've got 4 cups of the milk that we're putting in, and like I said, this is our lactose free. So we're gonna put this in. And what we wanna do is we want to heat this milk to 185 degrees, between 180 and 185. And we have our thermometer, so you can, if you don't have a thermometer, don't worry about it. What happens is you'll see little bubbles around the edges. You'll see some steam kind of coming up. So we're gonna let this go. It's gonna take just a couple minutes. We're gonna give it a little bit of stirs going through. You go watch an Empowered Puppy Bite, and then when you come back, you'll be able to see us on the very easy part, because all we're gonna do is take 3 tablespoons of vinegar. We're gonna put that in, and all of a sudden, the cheese is gonna happen. So go watch the Empowered Puppy Bite, and we'll be back. One mistake that often puppy owners make is they'll take their dog outside and they'll try to teach their dog to come. Well, look at this. How could your dog possibly learn how to pay attention to you in such a distracting environment? You've got birds and smells and sounds and cars and all this going on. Work with your puppy inside first, teaching them to come or hear like we do. And it's so much easier because it's in a calmer environment than being outside with all nature's sounds and distractions. And that's just another Empowered Puppy Bite. Welcome back, and we are ready to get everything plated up. But there was a couple more things I wanted to talk to you about before we go ahead and start plating. One is, I've seen a lot of controversy as far as the shelf life of your kibble or your treats, where some places are saying that some people are reporting they're only good for 2 weeks. Once you open that bag, that you kind of let all that oxygen and everything in, where everything kind of starts changing on the compounds themselves of the food. And then I've seen manufacturers say 3 months. I've seen some manufacturers say 6 weeks. So for us, in order to combat this, what we've done is we actually keep our food in the freezer. This way that kind of locks it in. We keep it in the bag that it came in. If you put it in plastic, a lot of times like the plastic containers that they sell, they say that kind of breaks down all the fat contents and all the coatings that are on top of that kibble. And we really don't know what that produces. So luckily our food supplier, they actually have like a stainless steel bag. It looks like stainless steel or whatever. It's not stainless steel bag, but it's got that shiny, I'm not even sure what kind of bag it's called or whatever, but it works very, very well. And they kind of have a little air button on their bag as well. So that kind of goes through, but we keep that in the freezer. And then the other thing I wanted to talk to you about was the amounts that you feed. Since obesity is such a huge, huge problem for a lot of people with their dogs and so forth, the manufacturer always suggests on the back of the bag how much, you know, they think that you should be feeding your dog. Well, you need to understand that these feeding trials that are done in order for them to determine that are actually done on a beagle. When food trials are done, they always use beagles. So at a beagle, roughly 35, 40 pounds, it has a altogether different metabolic rate than, say, large breed puppies or the large breeder puppies or even the very, very small puppies. Small puppies need more caloric content than large puppies do, or large dogs or small dogs, so to speak. So you really want to see how many calories are in the cup that's on your bag, and you want to see what your dog's breed recommends. And all you have to do is Google it, and you can find out really how many calories your particular breed should be taking. And this way, that'll give you a better idea. You know, we get the question all the time, how much should I be feeding? What should I be doing? And it's one of those, take your breed, see the calories of the food you are, and kind of go from there. So those are my last 2 points. So now we're getting ready to build up our parfaits. So as you can see, that is how our ricotta cheese turned out. It's so amazing to think that 4 cups of milk just made that little bit of cheese, but Cosmos was very excited for it. He absolutely loves it. And then our sauce, and I always make extra of this because we'll use it, you know, kind of use this instead of jam even, as fact. You can take it on a bagel, you can take it on toast, and it's so simple, and it's just so natural and so healthy for you. And then look at our granola. The clusters came out really awesome. In fact, you want to sneak a piece? Do I sneak a piece? There you go. So what we're going to do, wash my hands here, we are going to layer up. We're going to just put a little bit in each one. And you can get the recipe at empoweredpups.com. And hope to see you next week, and we'll figure out something else to talk about. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next week. Are you happy? Are you happy?